G'day, welcome back to another video. I was hoping to have, to start doing some actual work on the car in this video, but due to the whole COVID thing, postage has been pretty slow, so I haven't really been able to get anything here yet. I've just had a gasket set arrive today, so pretty much the next video will be me pulling the motor out, swapping the heads, and doing all that and starting the MIVEC conversion. But for this video, because I want to make a video once a week, but I thought maybe in this video I could explain a bit about the car, because if you've watched my other videos, you'll see that it's gone from a red car that was twin turbo that I was starting the single turbo conversion on to where it's currently at. The first video was shot almost a year ago now. In the first video, you'll see that the car was red, twin turbo. That was pretty much when I first got it going. I hadn't actually started, modifying the engine bay, etc. So I thought in this video I'll give you a rundown on the car itself, how it got to where it's at, and some of the stuff I'm planning on doing to it in the future. So the car itself is a 1996 factory manual non-turbo car. I got given it by a friend. It was just sitting out in his paddock and he didn't really want it anymore and he didn't have the space for it, so I took it off his hands. The motor in it is a 91 twin turbo engine that came out of a crashed car. I pretty much swapped everything over, swapped all the looms, body looms, engine bay looms, ECU, dash, swapped it all over, put it all into this car. I got the car always thinking I wanted to build it into a full-time race car. That was always the plan. And there was a lot of things that I always wanted to fabricate myself that I couldn't do on a street car. For example, the side exit exhaust, which I'll show you shortly. I couldn't do that on a street car because I don't think it's actually legal. Exhaust comes out the side here, and the floor is notched the whole way through. So that way I can run a flat floor. Just to help with aero. Interior's pretty simple. It's just your stock dash, stock center console. Just got some switches. I do have ep.3 AFCR in here. I don't even know if it's been used. I think he might have just touched up a bit of the mixtures at the end on the dyno, but that's about it. And then I just got the Defi dash and the boost gauge, etc. It's got full roll cage in it. And then in the back, I don't know if you can quite see, but it's got like a small mini roll cage which actually holds, it goes through the boot here, which is what holds the wing on, so the downforce from the wing hopefully will transfer straight through into the actual body of the car instead of just making the boot lid flex. So as you can see, the car was a factory red. I have done a dark, well they call it dark grey, just a vinyl wrap, as you'll see from some pictures. The wrap was actually relatively easy to do if you didn't care, to be honest. It has its flaws, it has quite a few flaws in it, but it's a race car, so I wasn't too worried about it. built a new intake manifold for it so I can get to the back set of plugs relatively easy, compared to the stock one, which actually goes up over the back bank and you have to pull that off to change the plugs. I wanted to get to the plugs easy, being a race car and being on the track. And also with the MIVEC heads, they sit up higher, so I couldn't run the factory intake manifold, and if I did, I'd have to massacre the bonnet to make it fit. This one actually fits in between the heads. When the MIVEC heads are on, they sit up about, I think it's an extra 15 mil or something, and so the intake manifold clears all that just fine. So that's the main reason for building it. It seems to work really well. So it's single turbo, I think it's a GT35, well, I think it's just a T3, T4 for 70 trim compressor, to be honest. Nothing special about it, just your Chinese special. The budget for the actual car has been really low, so nothing has been extremely, had huge money spent on it or anything like that. My plans for it are obviously to do the MIVEC conversion. These here are the MIVEC heads. So I've set of MIVEC heads over here. If you don't know what MIVEC is, pretty much on the MIVEC you have two cam lobes. So you have the smaller lobe and the bigger lobe. The bigger lobe's got bigger duration and more lift. So it sits there and runs off the small lobe, and then once the oil pressure comes in, it triggers a switch which locks a pin, pretty much locks a pin in, I don't know if you can see them, I haven't got one apart, but it locks a pin that goes through these two bits here. So this one here floats, that one there floats, and that one there is locked. So when that one's running all the time, and then when the pin locks through, it runs off the bigger cam. Pretty much have a big set of race cams as well as a standard street cam, which you can switch whenever you want or whenever it best suits the RPM, etc. So these heads, as you can see, are quite a bit higher, and this is the MIVEC block itself, which I'm pretty sure has different tensioner and idle locations. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it seems to be that I can't find a belt that fits these heads on that motor, on the single turbo motor I've got over there. So I'm going to have to run a 4G64 belt, and I'm going to have to build a couple of custom tensioners, and that is the main reason why I am pulling the motor. Well, that's one of the main reasons why I'm pulling the motor, just to do the head swap. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't need to. It's literally just to make it a bit easier. And also, I've got a new clutch coming as well, which should handle a bit more power. So, yeah, other than that, you can see it's just, well, you can't quite see. Other than that, it's running stock injectors. It is running an aftermarket fuel pressure regulator, purely for the fact that everybody told me that the stock ECU was going to panic when it had the single turbo. The airflow meter wasn't going to love it. It was going to run lean. It was going to run, timing was going to be inconsistent. It was going to have all these issues. What I found out is I had none of those issues because of the fuel pressure regulator. It was running really rich right from the start, and we ended up pulling it back to factory spec. Essentially, everything on here, like you can run this whole setup just with a factory ECU and a factory airflow meter. The wastegate's got a 14-pound spring in it, so yeah, so essentially you can make 260 odd kilowatts at all four wheels on a stock setup GTO. So why aren't people building these cars? I don't know. That's just me. Probably because everyone seems to think they're so heavy. Everyone seems to think they're so heavy, but we'll see. We'll see. So in the next video, I'm going to pull the motor out, pull the heads off. I know it's got good compression. The motor, the bottom end's good. I am going to build up that block over there. I am planning on building that up with forged pistons, HBM rods, but I really want to see what I can get out of the stock block. I've heard people making 600-700 horsepower out of the stock. I do want to see what I can get out of it. I'm very limited because I've only got a Walbro 500 horsepower fuel pump in there, so I don't think I'm going to make, well, I'm very limited on that. But other than that, that's the car. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing more to it. It's simple. Tomorrow I'm going to take this for a bit of a spin up the road, just to show you that it actually does go and what it goes like. And then, like I said, the next video will be the motor out, MIVEC heads, etc. And then hopefully my new clutch will be here. I'll get it all in, and hopefully I'll be on the dyno within a couple of weeks. Yeah. So till then, see you guys. Hopefully, I'll go for a drive tomorrow, and I can get some footage of that, and it'll be really good.